Hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode here at WILDMAN Lifts. I'm your host, WILDMAN. Now on today's episode, ho 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 and Merry Christmas. Who says that Santa doesn't bring presents to everybody, including those that are in the strength and fitness world? Because today, I'm going to be giving you a gift, a free gift. It's going to be a free strength program. So this kind of strength program is how I typically set up my linear progression. So if you don't know about linear progression, I've actually talked about this before in my previous videos. So do some homework because it's very interesting. It's also a very common trend among strength athletes to do this type of strength training and to set their formats in this kind of programming because it really works. And it's something that kind of goes over time, and it's something that you can build upon and tweak as you go along. So linear progression works like this. There once was a man who used to walk a mile from his house into town, and every day he used to carry a little baby calf, like a cow calf. Over time, that calf began to grow up, but that man continued to carry that young calf that's now turning into a young bull into town every day. Eventually, over time, the man was able to pick up that grown bull and carry it into town for a mile. Now, how is that possible? Well, the idea and the mythology behind this is linear progression. He started small, and then over time, as the cow grew in size and in weight, his body adapted to it and became stronger and more adaptive to the weight, and he was able to still perform the same feat of strength, even though the cow became a grown adult. So that's how linear progression works. If we start off small and we work our way up, then eventually over time, we're going to be able to make big gains, and we can look back and be like, wow, I was carrying a small calf back then, and now I'm carrying a full bull. Same thing with if you start with a barbell and only a barbell, then you're going to look back on time and be like, wow, I was only able to bench press a barbell. Now you're able to bench press a lot more weight with those little circular weights at the end of them, which is very impressive. Now, I kind of understand that everybody is limited in equipment, and also everybody has different fitness goals and different strength goals, and I'm not able to meet everybody's expectation for this video, and I'm very sorry about that. I'm just going to give you a very generalized linear progression strength program, and you can follow this to the T if you want, or you could tweak it, or if you have more equipment, please feel free to do what you want to do with this. This is just kind of a blueprint of how you want to set up your linear progression. And if you have more equipment or you have more ideas, please leave those in the comments and feel free to share your ideas, because a lot of people can learn from it if everybody kind of pulls their head together and tells what kind of workouts they like to do and what kind of movements that they like to do in order to achieve certain goals. Also, if you're doing this, but you're like, hey, I want to do more stuff than this, and I have more equipment and I have more opportunities, feel free to DM me at WILDMAN Lifts on Instagram. That's my Instagram account. And I'd be more than happy to take a look at some of your programming, and we can maybe figure out a workout together that works for you. So I also do individual programming as well. So if you're interested in building a custom-made strength program around your strength and fitness goals, and you think that I'm the guy that can help you achieve it, then please reach out to me on Instagram, and I will be more than happy to take a look at what you got, and we can see if we can come to an agreement. Alrighty, so without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into this. Now, I set this up with very minimal equipment because I understand that a lot of people don't have very many options. They might be in a commercial gym or they might have equipment at home. And I tried to create a program that was going to be able to cover all of that. Realistically, all you're really going to need is a squat rack, which is a universal squat rack, meaning that you can set it up to squat, deadlift, bench press, and shoulder press from. You also might need like one adjustable bench that can go, flat all the way up to straight, so you can hit some inclines and then do some shoulder pressing. It would help if you had a barbell and some circular weights that go on the end of them, which you can find some pretty cheap deals on Amazon right now because it is Christmas time. Maybe a few dumbbells and maybe a few bands as well. If you could get all that stuff, you're going to be pretty much set to have a total body workout, and you can make serious gains without having to go to a commercial gym every day. So without further ado, let's jump into this linear progression style I set up with that minimal equipment as I just mentioned. So the first thing that we're going to start off with is day one. And I always like to start off with day one with leg day. A lot of people like to do chest or deadlifts or something a lot more flashier. But I'm telling you, if you actually do leg day on your first day, you're actually going to get a lot more strength in the other lifts because it's not as taxing as the other lifts. It's really going to prime your whole body to get ready to lift for the entire week. So for day one, we're going to start with section A, which is the strength set. And basically within 5 to 7 sets, that's what we're going to try to aim for. You don't want to do too many sets and too many reps within that scheme. I typically like to do 5, 6, or 7 sets on my strength set where I'm working up to my max weight. And for today, that's going to be a 3 rep max, meaning you're going to start with very minimal weight, even if it's just the barbell. And you're going to do 3 reps. And within 5 to 7 sets, you're going to work your way up to a 3 rep max back squat. That means that when you hit your back squat, if you hit 3 or if you hit 2 and you can't hit a third one, you put the bar back and you're done. You're done with back squats for that day. But as you're going up in weight within those 5 to 7 sets, you're also going to be doing some weighted sit-ups. And I understand that if you can't do a sit-up, maybe you need to do assisted sit-ups or whatever, just do 3. Just try to get that forward motion, bending from the ground, because it really is going to carry a lot into all the other lifts to build your core. And then we're going to do 3 box jumps. And again, it doesn't have to be that high. You could go as high as you want, but just do 3. So as you're going up on the back squats and you're adding weight to it and you're trying to get to your 3 rep max between 5 to 7 sets, either your 5th or 7th set being your 3 rep max for the day, you're going to be doing 3 weighted sit-ups and 3 box jumps in between. Or if you need to adjust as you need to, there's an idea for you. Then we're going to move on to section B. Once you're done with that work, then you're going to do 3 sets of a secondary lift. And that secondary lift is going to be the front squat. Now, I really encourage everybody to be able to get their hands underneath the barbell and to keep their elbows high out in front of them. If you could do that, that's going to be a lot easier to do the front squat. However, if you can't do that, there's lots of different variations to do the front squats. I've talked about it on my channel. Multiple YouTube influencers have talked about it on their channel of how they can get into a proper position. But I really encourage everybody to work on their shoulder mobility and their elbow mobility in order to get their elbows high, because you're going to see a lot of benefits from the front squat that will carry into the back squat, but also the deadlift as well. So that's why we're doing front squats. And we're going to be working up to a 6 rep max within 3 sets. So this isn't your time to like burn out. You want to be able to have your last set, your 3rd set. You want that 6 rep max to be a little difficult. So that way, if you only get like 4 or 5 reps and not the full 6, that's okay. Because the idea is this is just something that's going to help with the back squat and giving yourself a little bit more volume in the squat department. And we're going to keep it in the same strength giant set format as we did for the strength giant set. We're going to be doing 3 weighted sit-ups or assisted sit-ups or just plain 3 sit-ups or ab mat sit-ups, whatever you want to do. Just do 3 of them. And 3 box jumps. And again, if you can't jump up to a box, feel free to like just jump straight in the air and land. That's a great starting place. And then just work yourself up to a box. You could even jump over a broom if you wanted to. We're not really picky with this. The idea is just to get your body used to jumping when it doesn't really want to jump because your legs are tired. Once we're done with the secondary set, then we're going to move to the assistant set. So that's going to be, and again, I understand within 3 sets, this is just more of a bodybuilding phase at this point. But we're going to be doing some pull-ups. Now, if you can't do pull-ups, I really encourage everybody to try to get to pull-ups. Meaning, if you could do just 1 pull-up, then I want you to do 3 sets of 1 pull-up. I want you to do 1 pull-up, and then I want you to do 10 sit-ups or assistant sit-ups or whatever. And then I want you to do 10 reverse lunges where you would jump out in front of you, lower yourself down with your leg out in front of you, and then shoot yourself back. And then you're going to do 10 of those total. And within 3 sets, if you can only do 1 pull-up, then you'll just do 1 pull-up. And then the next time you go to the gym and you do this workout again, maybe you'll try to do 2 pull-ups. And if you can't do any pull-ups at all, then feel free to do anything you want that involves that mimicking movement, such as the lat pull-down machine or take bands. That's why I said get bands and do some lat pull-downs in that direction, because that range of motion and that movement pattern is very important for overall health. Then once we're done with that, we're going to move to the accessory giant set, which is section D. And again, within 3 sets, you're going to do some bicep curls. So I suggest like you pick up some dumbbells. You could even use the barbell if you want. And you're just going to do 3 sets of 10. You could do 10 with the same weight, or you can gradually, within 3 sets, build up to a 10 rep max of bicep curls. And feel free to play around with it. You could do hammer curls, you could do reverse curls, you could do preacher curls. It doesn't really matter. Just get creative with it and do some bicep curls. It's really, really important for your elbow. That elbow health gets a lot of benefits when you're doing some type of curl. Then we're going to do hitchhikers. If you don't know what hitchhikers are, please review to any one of my channel history where I'm doing either a deadlift or a back squat, because I do them every single time as part of my accessory movement. And then you'll know what hitchhikers look like. But those are really good for your shoulder health and for your athletic longevity. And then doing some flutter kicks, which again, I've talked about a lot on my channel. You can look up flutter kicks on YouTube if you want to. But basically what we're trying to do is really finish off the core, and especially that lower abdomen. But then also that works your inner thigh a little bit. If you put your feet out just a little bit askew, that's really going to hit your inner thigh, which is super important to hit when you're doing back squats. All right, so that was day 1. Now for day 2, I recommend that you take either a 24 or 48 hour rest, because it's going to take a while to recover from this. I understand if you're busy and you have to go to day 2 the very next day. I kind of designed the program for that it would be successful anyways, but you'll get better results if you allow your central nervous system to rest, because these compound movements can really make your spinal erectors tired and you won't be able to perform the way you want to perform. So let's just say 24 hours or 48 hours later, you decide to work out again. That would be day 2. So you don't have to go like the next day. I would recommend a little rest period in between. But that's going to be chest day. This is going to be a lot of males' favorite lift. Guaranteed. Everybody loves going to the gym and hitting chest day. I think every time I go to the gym, there's always somebody on the bench press rack doing some kind of bench press variation, because people just love to hit the chest. It's one of the favorite things that they like to hit. It's a fun movement to do. So on this day, for the strength set in section A, again, it's always going to be the same format as day 1 is. It's going to be that 5 to 7 set ratio. That's not going to change. Neither are the sets going to change for the secondary assistance or accessory sets. Those are always going to be 3 sets as well, just to let you know. So we have right away, we're going to work up to a 3 rep max on the bench press. That's the flat bench press. So you want to have a bench that, if you have a adjustable bench, you want it so that it's perfectly flat on the ground, so that you're horizontal with the ground. And then as you're going up in weight, between that 5 and 7 set range, you're going to be doing what's called dragon flags. Dragon flags are actually pretty hard to do. You have to remain very, very strict in form, and you can look it up and see what that is. But if you want, you could try my WILDMAN flags. WILDMAN flags is when I actually use a little bit momentum and I shoot my hips up into the air and then try to lower it down as slowly as I can. And that, to me, even though it's not a perfect dragon flag, I feel like that I get a lot of core activation when I do that. And the best part is, right after you're done with the bench press, it's an easy transition to do the WILDMAN flags and just start banging them out right then and there once you're done, because you're already laying down on the bench and you need to be on the bench in order to do those flags. And then you're going to do some 30 jump ropes. So again, jump ropes are pretty cheap and they're very, very beneficial to overall health. So definitely invest in a jump rope if I didn't say that before at the beginning of this video. Now, once you're done with the strength giant set, so whatever you get up to your 3 rep max, and again, it might be on the 3rd rep, it gets really hard and you're like, okay, that's it for the day. Or you might try only hit 2 reps, then you're like, okay, I'm done for the day. Then you would go immediately into the secondary set, and within 3 sets, now you're going to raise that bench up, that's flat, raise it up just 1 click up. That's all it takes. You could go higher if you want to, but I don't see a purpose in it. Every time I've trained, I feel like that 1 click up on the flat bench press is perfect for the incline bench and really carries over into everything else that I'm trying to hit. And we're going to do the incline bench press to a 6 rep max. So again, when you get to your 3rd set, you want to be able to either be a very tough 6, or you want to miss it and only have 5 or 4 reps. That's how you know you're doing a good job. And you're going to continue on with the dragon flags and the jump ropes as the strength giant set. Then for the assistance giant set, then you're going to do 3 rounds and you're going to do 10 push-ups. Now, again, I understand that some people can't do push-ups, and that's perfectly fine. If that's the case, I just want you to do some type of variation of the push-up. Whether it's, they call it girl push-ups, where you're on your knees and you're pushing away from the ground like in that manner, or people go to a bench and you have a flat bench right in front of you, and you could do push-ups on that because that's a lot easier to do. Whatever you want to do. Or if you're really good at push-ups and 10 is not enough for you, you could switch it to hand release push-ups, which I've talked a lot about on my channels, or ring push-ups, where you're suspended in the air and you have to do push-ups while you're holding gymnastic rings, which is a lot harder. Tons of options out there if you want to do different kinds of variations of push-ups. And as you're doing those push-ups and you're doing 3 sets of that, you're also going to be doing in between the pull-off press, which is, again, is a great oblique exercise to do. And I talk about it a lot on my channel, and you can look it up online as well. Great oblique exercise to do, one of my favorites. And we're going to continue with the jump ropes as well. Once you're done with those 3 sets, then you're going to do the accessory set, which is going to be the 10 overhead tricep extension. So basically, you're going to take a dumbbell or a plate or whatever, and you're just going to put it behind your head, and then you're going to press it up in this manner. This is really going to isolate those triceps. And what you're going to try to focus on is don't try to use your shoulders. Try to think only your elbow is going to move up and down. If you do that, that's really going to isolate the triceps. And triceps are super important if you want to get strong. Plus, they look good too. Triceps always makes your arm look good. Then you could do some pec flies. If you have really light dumbbells, you could just lay flat on the bench press and you could just lift it like this with straight arms as possible with very light weight. We're not trying to do anything big here. If you don't have the correct dumbbells to do that with, or they're too heavy for you, again, I told you to buy a band earlier, right? So take the band, just wrap it around the squat rack, and then just bring it to your chest like this. And that's going to be virtually the same thing. We're just trying to build some inner lining muscle build right here. We're not trying to go very heavy with it. And then, of course, face pulls. I'm always going to do face pulls on my shoulder press and bench press days. And I'm always going to do hitchhikers on my squat and pull days. So if you don't know what face pulls are, I talk about them a lot on my channel. And also you can look it up as well online. All these you should be able to look up online. All right, so now day 3. This is going to be back day. And the best exercise I could possibly think of for the back is going to be the deadlift. So you can see that there's a pattern here, right? We've got 5 to 7 sets. We got a 3 rep max, work up to a 3 rep max within those sets. And we're just going to be doing deadlifts. And in between, as you're going up in weight on the deadlifts, you're going to be doing what's called a bar facing burpee. Oh boy, I love these, but they are the devil's spawn. I will say that. They are very difficult to do. Basically, what you do is you do a burpee and you're facing the barbell. And then instead of jumping in the air to finish the burpee, you're going to jump over the bar. And then you're going to turn around and you're going to face the bar again. And you're going to do another burpee and you're going to jump over the bar again and then turn and face the bar. You do that for 3 reps total. Burpees are hard all by themselves. For some reason, CrossFit really does a lot of these. When you do a bar facing burpee, I don't know what happens, but it turns the burpee level up to like from a level 6 to a level 16. It is brutal to do. And then we're going to do a 100-meter shuttle run. And the reason why I say shuttle run is because a lot of people don't have the space to run 100 meters. They don't have a space to run 50 meters and then run 50 meters back. So what I like to do is if you're in a small space, you just kind of try to guesstimate how many meters that is within feet. And then you just run back and forth until you reach about 100 meters. And that's why it's called a shuttle run, because you're going to have to run back and forth. And the shuttle run is pretty much the only thing I can think of that's cardiovascular wise that you could do within a small confined space. Once we're done with that, then we're going to move to the secondary set, which is going to be a 6 rep max snatch grip deadlift. I recently just started doing it for the upcoming January. I'm going to start doing snatch grip deadlift a lot because there's a lot of people that I respect that say not only does it carry a lot into the deadlift to help you get your deadlift better, but it is a major upper back bodybuilding exercise. So that's kind of cool. So again, if you don't know what a snatch grip deadlift is, I'm going to talk about it on my channel, but there's plenty of places to look it up online as well and see what that looks like. That's how I learned. I learned from YouTube. And we're going to continue with that same format as the strength set with the secondary set, which is with the bar facing burpees and with the 100-meter shuttle run. Then once we're done with that, we're going to move to the assistance set, which is going to be 3 sets. Now you're going to take off the weight and you're going to do 10 barbell rows. You can keep it the same weight if you want to, or you can do a 10 rep max. Like, it's really up to you and how you're feeling that day. The barbell rows definitely builds the back and it definitely carries over into deadlift. So that's why we're doing that. And then in between, we're going to do a single arm farmer carry walk. So that basically means like you take a dumbbell, a kettlebell, or a plate, doesn't really matter, and you walk it about 50 meters, turn around and walk it back. So basically the same distance as the shuttle run. However you figure that out, you're going to do the same thing with that. But the thing is, you're going to do 50 meters with one arm, and then you're going to switch to the other arm and finish off with the other arm for the other 50 meters for 100 meters total. And then you're going to continue to do the shuttle run as well. Once you're done with those 3 sets, then we'll move to the accessory set, which is going to be some barbell curls. So now I want you to take off all the weight from the bar, and I want you to curl with it. Now, if you can't do that, that's fine. Just switch over to bands or switch over into dumbbells. But I want to encourage you to work towards being able to curl with just the barbell. There's actually a really big benefit to doing that. And if the bar is too easy for you, then obviously go up to a 10 rep max or find a weight that suits you better. And then we're going to do those 10 hitchhikers again. And then we're going to do Nordic hamstring curls. So basically you need to anchor your feet. Sometimes I just use the barbell that I'm using to curl and I anchor my feet with that. But pretty much you're just going to lower yourself down to the ground and then you're going to push off the floor again. And you're going to use your hamstrings to really carry you to the top. And that's one of my favorite exercises to do, to hit the hamstrings, especially when you've already hammered them with all those deadlifts. Okay, and lastly, it's going to be day 4, which is shoulder day. And it looks like the sun is starting to get into my eyes. So that means it's almost time for me to start working out here because I need to wrap this up and get cracking on my own workout. But that's going to be shoulder day. So again, we're going to do 5 to 7 sets. We're going to work up to a 3 rep max like all the other ones. But we're going to do a seated military press. So a seated military press pretty much is you take it from the rack at the top of the lift, you lower it down to your chin, and you press it up. I don't want that bench to be all the way up 90 degrees either. I usually go back about 2 or 3 clicks from it being 90 degrees to make sure that I'm targeting the shoulders and I'm only going down to my chin. So I want to make sure that if it gets below my chin or if it touches my chin, that I have enough space to go back up and I don't hit my chin on the way back up. Then we're going to do 3-way windmills. They should be called 6-way windmills, honestly, because you're going to do this with your left arm and then you're going to do it with your right arm. If you don't know what 3-way windmills are, I've talked about them a lot on my channel. You can also look it up online. Very popular movement to hit the obliques, but also it really gets your shoulder amped and ready as you're lifting heavy on the military press. And that's why I primarily do it. And then we're going to immediately do some mountain climbers. Just every time, like if you start with your right leg, every time your right leg comes up, that's going to be 1 rep. And you're just going to do 10 of those. Reason being, mainly, is because that really loosens your ankles and it really carries over into squats and all the other big lifts as well. And it also works your core at the same time. Once we're done with that, then we're going to do the secondary set, which again is within 3 sets. We're going to work up to a 6 rep max. But this time we're going to take the dumbbells. So we're going to start with lightweight, and then we're going to work up to a 6 rep max. Now I understand if a lot of people don't have dumbbells that go up in weight, or you only have like 1 pair or whatever. They do have dumbbells that are universal that you can click what weight you want them to be. And you could just try to do it in that manner if you have those. If you don't, and you only have 1 set of dumbbells, I don't know, then just do 3 sets of 10. But the idea is just to get that done because it is a great shoulder exercise. And I really found that my overhead press went up as a result of these as being a secondary movement. So I highly recommend them. And again, we're going to continue with that same strength format with the 3-way windmills and the 10 mountain climbers. And then for the assistance giant set, we're going to do something called the Arnold press. And now look this up on YouTube. The Arnold press is amazing. The Arnold press really hits those shoulders in every direction because Arnold Schwarzenegger created it. And it is one of the best shoulder exercises I've ever seen. So if you haven't seen these before, definitely look it up. I've done it a million times on my channel. Just pretty much go to any like shoulder day I did. And I usually use this as my assistance giant set. Then we're going to take whatever dumbbells you're using for the Arnold press. Just do a 100-meter farmer carry with both of them down at your side. We did a single arm carry last time. Now we're doing both arms this time. Super important to do both. And then we're going to finish off with the mountain climbers. And then with the accessory set, we're going to do 3 sets. Tricep push-ups is when you put your hands close together and you put them like on a bench. So you're using a bench in this workout today. Put it on the seat of the bench, make like a diamond with your hand, and just bring your chest to that diamond and press away. This is just a great exercise to do to really hit the triceps in a different kind of way, but it's also going to give your chest a little bit of a workout as well. And then we're going to do side delt raises, which essentially I put like a band. There's a machine where it goes out like this. But there's also, you can use bands that drape across your arms and you could just do it in the same motion, like attach it to a weight or a barbell or whatever to the rack. And that is a great way to really hit this bottom portion of your shoulders, because when somebody's on your shoulders and you want them to get off, that's that motion right there. And then face pulls. Again, I'm always gonna do face pulls. I love face pulls. Face pulls I do, and hitchhikers I do every single workout because I haven't had a shoulder impingement every time I do that. Alrighty, so that's my present from Santa Wildman to you folks. And I hope that everybody enjoyed this video and that everybody can find this useful. Now, I'm not going to be filming anymore until the beginning of the new year because I have a lot of family activities that I got to do because it's Christmas time and it's holiday time for all of y'all. And I'm sure everybody is busy out there trying to make sure that we're ready for it. So I'm not going to see you again until it's 2026. And I hope that y'all make some good resolutions. And I hope that if one of those resolutions was to get in shape, then this strength program would be able to work out for you to hit your goals. I really appreciate everybody stopping by, and I want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and Happy Holidays, no matter what festivity you're celebrating. And I'll see you next time. Thank you.